It is Sunday, January 14th, 2017, and welcome to Flicker Effect. This is episode 238. I'm David Lott. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
What's up, everybody?
Yasha Wilson.
Hey, everyone.
And Michelle Hillard.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, guys? This week, we will be counting down, each of us, our top 10 films of 2017. It is finally time. We're pretty much going to jump right into this, guys. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm sure we're going to take a little bit to do this. But first, before we start, some notes for everybody listening. The majority of the show, and the first part of it is we're going to be counting down our top 10 list, each of us. We have not shared each other's list with each other. So
somebody's been super secretive about it this evening too.
Whatever. I've got a little book here.
He's got like a cover sheet. Guys, I'm not even joking. The dude has a cover sheet over the list. Literally.
And I made it backwards since she is to my right, so it's folding the other way. So she can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm even sitting on the opposite side of the table today, so we can't see each other's like computer monitors or the lists or anything. Like, we've taken extreme measures here.
All kinds of precautions.
I'm not screwing around.
Nobody knows shit about anybody's list.
But we have not seen each other's lists. After we do our list, we'll also cover our honorable mentions, any movies that didn't quite make our list. If we have time, we might talk about our biggest disappointment of the year. And that'll pretty much be it. Also, for anyone listening, worry not. Obviously, we may be talking about a lot of movies you never heard of, but we will not be talking about spoilers in this episode. No matter what we're talking about, there will be no spoilers. And I always like to mention this before we do this every year. For anyone listening who might go, wait a second, why the hell isn't this on your list or that on your list? Like, I like to keep in mind, we see a lot of movies, but we have not seen everything. We don't do this for a living. This is fun for us. This is kind of a hobby. But yeah, we have not seen every film. Maybe some people have gotten pretty close, Bobby. But
Bobby.
No, we have not seen every movie. So there's a good chance we haven't seen it. And we'll probably each of us kind of cover some of the films we were hoping to see before we did this that we didn't get a chance to. I know I will. There's a couple I can think of for sure that I wish I could have checked out. It just wasn't. Honestly, here it wasn't possible. They just weren't even playing here in Orlando yet.
Yeah, no, there's some that just weren't even in our area.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. We always use the Bowl of Destiny to determine the order for this. Instead of doing that on the air, we already did that ahead of time. So we did. The list has been determined, Yasha.
There's no proof.
There is proof. There is video on our Flicker Effect Instagram story, and I can save those videos.
Shout out.
Yeah, that's right. I'm saying people need to be following. There's good stuff on Instagram. Our Instagram, My Story, has it on that little like My Story thing. So it's probably going to be down by the time you guys hear this. Our audience, hello.
Since it's on the story, is 24 hours?
Right, but I can save them and I can add them.
That's true.
To that one thing.
Right.
But Yasha,
There's proof.
There is definitive proof.
I don't think I held them up to the camera, though, as I pulled them.
I'll accept your quote-unquote proof.
There's a photo and everything.
But yes, we have determined an order, and we are starting with you, Yasha. If you want to get us started, buddy, what was your number 10 film of 2017?
Now, let me see if I got this right. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. So am I going 10 and then somebody's going after me to do their 10?
We'll each do our 10, we'll each do our 9, then we'll each do our 8, and so on.
It's a lovely show. Sit back,
relax.
Pour yourself a nice drink and enjoy.
Okay, because like you mentioned, we were talking about lists and stuff like that, and I was going to fly through some of the other lists, like my honorable mentions, but I can wait on that, and I have a need to see list as well. I also took it upon myself my high hopes list, which is very, very short, and I also have my what the fuck list, as in like what the fuck, how is this movie getting made, or how are these movies still getting made, or how, high hopes but ultimately crushed my soul type of movie type of thing list too. That's really short as well.
We need to do a side effect show just with Yasha and his lists.
We do, apparently.
Well, no, I mean, it'll be really quick. I don't need to go into great detail and great length and be long-winded and talk indefinitely. Like some people, no mentions. I'm not going to mention anybody when it comes to that. But, I'm happy to just kind of consolidate it and bring it down.
My jaw just hit the floor.
But my number 10, let's get right to it. I'll say it.
Number 10.
Number 10 would be Justice League.
Oh.
All right.
Well, that's an interesting choice.
It's weird.
I gotta hear this.
Looking at the list from the movies that came out, there are so many movies that I did not see. And actually, I kind of really thought about it. I was like, there are a lot of movies out there that I really didn't think were that great. And would I put that in my top 10? I don't think I would. So it's going to be interesting. It's kind of a really weird list, but I feel like I need to broaden my horizon when it comes to watching movies next year. And that's going to be a goal of mine, to see a few more maybe dramas.
Well, and I will say, on just a quick note, I feel like Hollywood now is padding so many spectacularly well done films, written, shot, acted, whatnot, all at the very end of the year. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but there's a couple of holidays that fall in the end of the year. It is extremely challenging to deal with the holidays and all these amazing films all padded into the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Like, you're not busy at all. So
Right.
let's just go spend time 2 hours in the theater and just take 2 hours of your day.
You're not celebrating Hanukkah or Christmas or the New Year. Oh, hell no. You're not with friends and family and out socializing and doing... No.
That's
Anyways,
just silly.
That's my side note. But it's your top 10.
So Justice League is on your list. Why?
You know what? I enjoyed it. Like, I wasn't sure if I really enjoyed it as much as I did the first time around, but I watched it a second time over the holiday break when I was back east. And you know what? I just kind of like the idea of watching all those characters on screen, seeing them interact with each other, seeing the special effects. I thought the story still needs a little bit of work, but for the most part, I like the direction that they're going in, and I like the setup, and I thought it was fun. I just kind of dug the movie, actually. I didn't think that I liked it as much as I did, but apparently I did, because I watched it a second time and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to put that on my list.
Very nice. All right, Yasha, your number 10 was Justice League. I was determined by the Bowl to be second on the list here. So my number 10.
Evening, Mr. Monson. You understand you're trespassing right now, right?
I have an easement with the previous owner of your property.
Previous being the operative word. Who's this?
Just a guy telling you to get back in your nice truck. Go play okey dickhead somewhere else.
Hey, Carl. It looks like Mr. Monson hired some muscle.
Looks that way.
He's a friend of mine.
Friend with a big mouth.
I hear that a lot.
And you probably hear this, too.
More than I'd like.
And you know the drill. I'm gonna count to 3, and you're gonna start walking away.
I got rights to this one.
1.
I have a lawyer now.
2.
3.
Yeah, that boss.
You know the drill. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, my number 10 film is Logan. It's kind of similar, I guess, to what you're saying, Yasha, with Justice League, in that, like, I liked Logan when we first reviewed it, there's no doubt, but I felt like, I think when we reviewed it, if I haven't gone back and listened to my own review, but I think I probably liked it, but I didn't love it. But I've seen it since, and it gets better the more I watch it, and it just I don't know, it's such a great, feels like, end for the Wolverine, for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. And it also just feels like a great end for even just the old X-Men guard, if you will, with Professor X also being in that movie. And I don't know, it's incredibly good. It seems like a nice passing of a torch that I don't know is actually going to pass anywhere in the end. But I don't know. Logan was I remember when we all first saw the trailer and we were all like, holy shit, this this is going to be something I don't think anybody expected. And yeah, it really is. It's different. It's gritty. It's R-rated. I really, really, really liked it. So yeah, Logan is my number 10 film.
Cool.
That's what I got. Bobby is third on our list. So,
Hello.
Bobby, what is your number 10 film of the year?
So my number 10 film of 2017 happens to be Justice League, as well as Yasha.
Nice.
Get the hell out of here.
Wow.
I can't get out. We're still doing a show, Yasha. Maybe later.
I didn't expect that.
Well, so, okay, for the thing for me, and I'm surprised you didn't expect it because of the fact that when I talked about when we did that show, I mentioned a lot about how this had been the movie I'd been looking forward to since I was a kid. And getting to see all these characters on screen for the first time assembled together with everything that they had to go through between Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon picking up on the shots and everything just with the cloud that covered this movie, there was every expectation that this thing could have been really, really bad. But when I came out of that theater, I had the biggest smile on my face and was ready to see a Justice League 2. I thought they finally got Superman the way that I wanted to see him in this new iteration. Wonder Woman was still really cool to see after her movie. And just with the other addition of the new characters, I thought they presented them in a way that made me want to see more of them as well, and especially just to see a second movie for the Justice League. So I came out really satisfied, even though I knew there are problems with the film. There's some issues that couldn't be erased in terms of what they had and what they went with, and trying to put what Zach did and what Joss did. There was obvious things about it that could have been done better if either given more time or just had maybe a better idea of what they wanted to do. But what we got, I really was happy with and just wanted to see more of it after I finished. And it really made me feel good coming out of that movie, seeing that movie for the first time. And even after seeing it a second and third time, I really still loved it.
Very nice. Justice League, Bobby's number 10. That means we are moving on to you, Michelle. You got picked last by the bowl. So, Michelle, what is your number 10 film of the year?
This is really creepy and funny all at the same time, but my number 10 film is Logan.
Ah, look at that.
That's crazy.
I know. The West Coasters got their film. The East Coasters got their film.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the common theme for all of us is that our number 10 film is a comic book movie.
Yeah.
That too.
I in a way, I'm with David. I will say, I feel like I saw that film and I loved it almost instantly. I thought it was done really well. And again, I haven't listened to my review of it. I probably should have re-listened to it. But I was very happy with it leaving the theater when I did. And then I rewatched it, a few months later once it was on something, right. HBO or whatever. I don't know. And I was just like, God damn, this movie's good. Like, it is. It's like it's what you're saying. It is a spectacular end to an era and the beginning of another era in the X-Men stories.
Right.
And I think it's a spectacular passing of the torch. Again, we'll see where that goes. But the writing, the cinematography, just the feel of it is just so hard and real and gritty. And at the same time, there is such a connection between so many of the characters on an emotional level that, like, it's just, you're not going to get, I think, a lot of other things because they understand each other on a level that other humans, I don't think, understand each other. And they've all been through stuff and they know there's still more stuff to go through. And yeah, it's just, it is a really well done hero movie. It's just so good. Yeah. And I love Logan. So yeah, that's my 10.
Very nice. Well, that's our all comic books number 10 list.
Right.
Moving on to number 9 then. Yasha, what was your number 9 film of the year?
My number 9 was Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
You are full of surprises tonight, Yasha. I am loving this. I love you going first. You're going first from now on.
I just like the story. I think it's I like the world. Let's just say that. I'm invested in the world. And while the movie had its ups and downs for me, and I didn't think it was as good as the first one, I still very much enjoyed it. And I really hope that they are on board with doing more and try to keep this franchise going for maybe another 1 or 2 films, because I really enjoy the story and the franchise and the world. I'm invested.
Nice. All right. Yasha, you're number 10, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I guess that means, or you're number 9, sorry. I guess that means it's time for my number 9.
It's not the full report, but it's over 4,000 pages of it.
Huh. Are these in order?
I don't think so.
There are no page numbers.
Yeah, that's where the top secret stamps were. My source had to cut them off.
We're supposed to retire on Friday.
Ben, how are we supposed to comb through 4,000 pages?
They're not even loosely organized?
The Times had 3 months. There's no way we can possibly
He's
get this.
We got less than 8 hours.
We could shoot for city, then we'd have 10.
Hey, for the last 6 years, we've been playing catch-up, and now thanks to the President of the United States, who, by the way, has taken a shit all over the First Amendment, we have the goods. We don't have any competition. There's dozens of stories in here. The Times has barely scratched the surface. We have 10 hours till the deadline, so we dig in.
Yeah, my number 9 film is The Post, a film I just saw extremely recently, 2 days ago? Finally saw The Post because it didn't show up here in Orlando until then. And in a way, after I walked out of The Post and the way I felt about that movie, I'm almost surprised I have it down at 9. But like, it almost feels like it should be up higher because it's an incredibly good film, especially considering how quickly Spielberg put this film together. I mean, I've heard varying reports, but my understanding is it was about a 9-month period from the time they basically decided to make this movie, and now it's in theaters. And I would say the only reason I have it down at 9 for me is, and it's not way up higher, is that as good as the film is, I would say the very end of the film is a little lacking. And there's some stuff that's a little too on the nose. We obviously kind of can get what this film is trying to do. It's telling a story about, the Pentagon Papers and the Washington Post reporting about that. And it's definitely, sending a message about the freedom of the press. But there are some moments in the film that it's like, okay, I completely agree with this message, but you're slightly shoving it in my face, but okay. And yeah, the ending feels like it's just kind of missing something. But other than that, it's just really, really good Spielberg. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I highly, highly recommend anybody definitely go see this. And to think that how quickly they made this movie, it's a feat. So yeah, The Post is my number 9 film.
Nice.
Bobby, you were number 9.
My number 9 is Molly's Game.
You disapprove of me.
It's not personal.
It feels personal when you chat up every other guy at the game except me. When you stay late for a drink with JT, but never... Have you visited his Oscar? I think it's bolted on the hood of his car. It's noticeable when you go out of your way to demonstrate that you have no interest in me. You did the same thing to Dean. These guys want to play cards with me, not you.
Be that as it may.
You know who the biggest winner in this game is?
It's you.
You know who the second biggest winner is?
Look.
It's you. What are you taking home? 10,000 a night now?
That is my business, literally.
Between you, the dealers, and the servers, you're taking a lot of money out of this game.
Not as much as I'm bringing to it.
That 10,000 is 10,000 that doesn't go in my pocket.
Again, my money...
Your money is my money.
Is it?
I think we should talk about capping your tips.
You want to get together with the other players who on my tax returns are called clients and discuss putting a ceiling on my wages?
That's right.
It'll be America's most closely watched antitrust case.
So number 9, Molly's Game.
Oh.
Yeah, so I know we haven't really talked about this movie at all on the podcast because it was during times when we were all doing other things, pretty busy with other movies, and we never really got to review it on the podcast. But for those out there that don't know, Molly's Game is based on the true story of Molly Bloom, who was an Olympic class skier that got hurt during her Olympic trial runs and then turned to this high class poker or high stakes poker game that she really became sort of the princess of, and putting these games together for celebrities and other high profile people, and became a target of the FBI. And it was also directed and written by Aaron Sorkin. So this also stars Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba, and Kevin Costner, among a few. And it was one of those things to me where the subject matter just sounded interesting in and of itself. But beyond that, I just, for whatever reason, I think I have this newly discovered, or maybe not newly, but I really started to realize that I have some sort of love affair with Aaron Sorkin. Yes. And I don't even know when it started exactly, but I just know that everything I've seen of his, whether he's written it, or, well, pretty much has written it because this is the directorial debut, but everything he's written, it has such a cadence to it that everyone knows that is really fast sort of talking, but it's also within a way that it invites you to go back and see these movies or these TV shows that he's done, because it's like you pull things out of it on a second viewing because it goes so quick. And the way he directed this movie, I really loved the fact that he included Jessica Chastain's character Molly as the voiceover, because the way she is explaining a lot of the aspects of the poker game and who these people are and what it meant for these people to be in this game, it was just so well done. And just it was very stylish, the way it was shot, and the scenes, it gave you that sense of tension throughout the movie with what's going to happen. And it was just an intriguing story from start to finish that I really enjoyed. And this year, I'm making it my mission at some point in time to watch all of the West Wing. Yes. So I'm really definitely in on Sorkin and whatever he's got coming next.
No, Sorkin's a beast, man. I agree with you 100% on some of that stuff. I haven't watched any of the West Wing, but, if you're going to jump in, maybe I'll try and jump in.
Gosh, you're breaking our hearts over here in Florida.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I just, I love Sorkin too. Don't get me wrong. I really do enjoy a lot of his work, and actually everything that he's done. I mean, I adored The Newsroom. Like that show was so good. I enjoyed Steve Jobs. I enjoyed Moneyball. Everything that he's written and he does, I really do enjoy. So maybe I'll give West Wing a shot too. So I might jump in with you, Bobby.
I'm super glad that Bobby is now a member of the fan club.
We have cards. We'll send you them.
We will.
I think I must have been for a while because I've liked a lot of his stuff. Like I remember watching Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip and was disappointed when that got canceled.
Yeah. Your welcome basket will arrive on Friday.
Nice. I'll be looking forward to it.
It takes 3 to 5 business days, and we got MLK Day tomorrow, so it might be a little delayed.
About Friday.
Yeah.
All right. So your number 9 was Molly's Game. Michelle, your number 9 film of 2017.
My number 9. My number 9. Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Start in the AM. Questions.
I got a question, Doc. Why would I believe phones over here heard the goddamn word you said? You lay down your whole plate. He ain't even listening. Baby?
The target is an armored truck at Perimeter Trust in Dunwoody, 10 a.m. sharp. We have the details of the route because someone at the depot has a nasal problem. The bank itself is right near the Buford Highway, so we should be able to hit the ramp within 60 seconds of getting out. We also have a diversion crew. They're gonna blow up a bread truck a ways away, keep the fuzz busy. The dress code is the Michael Myers Halloween mask, but don't all buy your mask at the same time. It looks suspicious. The switch car is ready, but you want me to hit the long stay parking structure at Hartsfield Jackson to get a heist vehicle that stays colder longer? Boost a commuter car, a family car, something that blends in well with morning traffic. Something on the heavy side, in case we need to ram the cops off the road. Escalade, Yukon, Avalanche, whatever. It needs to be ready for an 8:30 start in the AM. Questions?
Well, ain't y'all cute? That's my baby.
So yeah, Baby Driver, my number 9. I gotta say, I feel like Edgar Wright wrote and directed one of the most unique and honestly just like the coolest films of this year. Like, it's just, I mean, if you break it down, it's a heist film with car chases, and there's a small little love story thrown in, right? So it sounds like it's kind of not unique. But the way that it's shot and the way that it's done with the music, just everything about it, like the way everything's choreographed and the cinematography and the color schemes and just everything that he utilizes throughout the entire film, the backgrounds, like everything is a part of the film in this one. It's so good. Like, it's just, it just gives you this, it evokes a feeling of being like, I don't know, part of this like cool, hip, musical like thing. It's hard to even put into words. It's just, and I say lighthearted, realizing there are definitely things in there, especially towards the end, that aren't so lighthearted per se, but I feel like, I don't know, like I walked out feeling pretty like, wow, that was a hell of an enjoyable film. That was awesome. It was very different from what I've seen in a little while, and I think Edgar Wright really did a good job. I'm very impressed. Very, very, very impressed.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
Very nice. So your number 9 is Baby Driver. Moving on to number 8, Yasha. What's your number 8 film?
My number 8 is King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. I felt like this movie was completely and totally underrated. I thought it was a fantastic retelling of a story, and this is coming from a person who is very much in love with the traditional King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and the Merlin story. But for whatever reason, Guy Ritchie got me with this movie, and he just nailed it. I thought it was kick-ass. I was definitely a fan. I could watch this movie again. I haven't watched it again yet, but just joined with Hulu, and it is on Hulu, so I will be watching it later on this week. So I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was a damn good movie, and I really, really enjoyed it.
I mean, Guy Ritchie films are usually pretty awesome.
I mean, I'll go ahead and say this movie's not on my list, but I'm right there with you, Yasha. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I didn't expect to, and it definitely has not gotten very much love whatsoever, but I don't know. I dug it. Like, I thought it was an entertaining watch. I definitely could see more movies in like a franchise of this, which are obviously now not going to happen because this movie did not do well whatsoever. But yeah, I'm with you. I like this movie. Yeah, it's not on my list, but it's a good film.
It's just a shame because, I mean, I think when we talked about it, we were both really surprised that we enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah.
And you totally see that they were setting it up for a sequel and even franchise type of behavior. But it did so bad in the theater. There's no chance of that happening. Like, it's just, no way. I mean, there's no chance of it actually making any type of like resurgence or, even fan based, like, trying to like, hey, let's start a campaign to like get this movie made. And it tanked. And it was a shame because everybody that I've talked to that has actually seen it, they're like, oh my God, that movie was actually really, really cool. I didn't expect to like it. And I'm like, yeah. I have a friend of mine who doesn't even like going to movies. She watched it basically because Charlie Hunnam is hot. And she's like, oh my God, the movie was so cool. And I was like, right? But when your production budget is $175 million and you only make domestically $39 million, that is an epic failure. Like, there's no moving on and getting another one. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So your number 8 was King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. My number 8.
You didn't do anything wrong.
I threw 4 people under the bus for $35,000, Charlie. I noticed you kept that out of your speech to the prosecutor.
No, don't do that.
I took advantage of gambling addicts. Donnie Silverman, my brilliant find. He lost
Marty,
$6 million on my table.
Stop.
Moved to Florida, got a job as a substitute teacher, then hanged himself.
Oh, and
in
that's
his
your
shower.
fault. That's
Donnie
not your
Silverman's
fault.
dead. Harlan Eustace is in jail in Nevada, wishing he was, but that's not why I'm saying no.
You're not saying no.
I was named after my great-grandmother.
I don't care.
Molly.
We will stay here all night
is my
until you
name.
understand. Until you understand nobody gives a shit about your good name.
I do.
Why?
Because.
Why?
Because.
Tell me why.
Because it's all I have left. Because it's my name.
My number 8 is Molly's Game. Bobby, you've already obviously talked about this a little bit, so I don't really have to refresh anyone's memory about what the movie is about. But I am also a huge Aaron Sorkin fan, a huge West Wing fan. A fan of pretty much everything he's done. And,
you're like co-president of the fan club, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's funny because, when I saw a trailer for this first time, I mean, it looked interesting. But if it hadn't been for the fact that I knew it was an Aaron Sorkin written film and directed, I would have been like, yeah, okay, maybe I'd see that. But basically, once I knew, Aaron Sorkin wrote this, of course I'm going to see this film. And then he directed it. Okay, he'd never directed anything before. That's going to be interesting. And it's as good as you said, Bobby. It's really entertaining to watch. Part of me has to say though, like I like that Aaron Sorkin is trying out his directing chops, and he had to start somewhere. And I think he did a really good job with his first time directing here. Of course, I can't help but think, man, if this script that he wrote on the hands of somebody like a David Fincher or somebody who has also already directed, Aaron Sorkin material, I think this film could have been incredibly good. And probably way up on my list than it is at number 8. But with that said, I mean, as his first film directing, he did a really good job with this, and of course did a great job with the writing of it. And all the performances, Jessica Chastain is great. Everyone's great. I really thoroughly enjoyed Molly's Game. So yeah, Molly's Game is my number 8 film.
I mean, for him never have directed anything, like not one show, like of all the shows he's written for, he's not ever directed anything.
Right.
Like,
he never directed like a random episode of West Wing or anything. No.
Or Newsroom or anything else. Even Studio on Sunset.
Yeah.
Like, he never directed anything. This was literally his out the gate directing his first freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised at that just a second ago when I looked at his roster just to see what else he had done, and I was like, "Wow, this is his first time directing."
Anything ever.
Right.
The movie he could have directed, when you look back at it, really could have been Steve Jobs, because it's it's not requiring there we go, too many different setups in terms of the scenes and stuff, because a lot of it takes place on stage or behind the stage. So he really probably could have directed that.
Yeah, true. So yeah, my number 8 film was Molly's Game. Bobby, your number 8 film of the year.
My number 8 is it was a comedy, and it was one of the movies I really truly enjoyed this year, which is Girls Trip. And for those unfamiliar, it's about these women that are celebrating getting together after not having seen each other for a long time and reconnecting at this Essence Festival in New Orleans. And who was in it? Regina Hall, Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Tiffany Haddish, who is the breakout star of that movie. Every scene she's in, when you talk about scene stealer, if you look that up in the dictionary, you will definitely see her picture, because she literally stole everything she was in. She's just super hilarious, over the top, but just funny. And this movie had me laughing from beginning to end, and I just enjoyed it so much. So that's my number 8 pick.
Very nice. I haven't seen Girls Trip, but I've been wanting to see it. I actually had it. I had created like a wish list on Apple TV of all the movies I was, okay, I can rent this. Maybe I'll watch it before a top 10. And I was on there actually, but yeah, I didn't get to it.
It was on the list, man.
Yeah. All right, Michelle, your number 8 film.
My number 8 film. So I kind of got to preface this real quick. Hold up.
Do you need a moment?
I do. I need a moment here. Okay. Ready? So here it is. So my number 8 film, I'll be honest, was kind of a toss-up. I was going back and forth between my number 7 and my number 8 and which position the two films would go into. And at the end of the day, it came down to, how did I feel when I walked out of the theater? And quite honestly, anyways, I'll just jump to it. My number 8 film is Lady Bird.
Why can't I just make the eggs?
Because you take too long, you make a big mess, and I have to clean the whole thing up.
Eggs aren't good for the environment anyways. What?
You heard her.
Quickly, please.
Look at all these pictures. Every newspaper looks like USA Today.
Shelly and I are trying to be vegan, hence the soy milk.
You wear leather jackets.
But they're vintage, so they don't support the industry.
They aren't done. There's white stuff.
You know how much you owe Brambles? Pigs are smarter than him, even.
I never thought Brambles was a genius, okay? Mom, the eggs are not done.
Fine, make your own fucking eggs.
I wanted to. You won't let me.
Sister doesn't like me.
I'm hungry.
She does.
There's your chance. Go to bed.
Okay, so Lady Bird. So I have no issues with this film, honestly. It was just so well done. It's such a good story. It's written really well. The dialogue is really well done. The acting in this film is so damn good. Like, just so damn good. And yeah, I really can't sing very much more praises for this film. I feel like it's something that everybody should sit down and have a good watch with. It's something that, I don't know, I connected with it well, and I enjoyed every frame of this film. And yeah, I have no words really. So I was really, really, really very happy with this film. And I walked out of this film, of the theater, and I was very happy and excited. But I will say, my number 7 pick, I was just ever so slightly, I had that little, like, I get this like feelings in my stomach, and like, I guess they're butterflies. I don't know, like, it's like this excitement that I know. And I had it was just a notch higher for my number 7 film. So that's when I finally was able to go, this is number 7, this is number 8. So it was kind of back and forth. Anyways, so yeah, but no, I mean, like I'm saying, I'm giving it the number 8 slot, but it's just good. It's so good.
And it's funny, I actually meant to say before I started my list, and you're talking about like trying to decide between 7 and 8. By the way, this list for me was the most difficult list I have put together yet. Like, by far, because I feel like in previous years there were always like a major standout 1, 2, or maybe 3 films that were like, boom, I saw them, they were going in the top 3, or that was my number 1 movie. And there's a lot of great films this year, I feel like, but there wasn't really any like absolute standout for me. Like, I look at my top 10 list and I'm like, I'm very happy with my order in the end, but basically when I sat down with those films and was like, oh, I've got to put these in an order, I was like, fuck, I feel like I could put this in any order. and in the end, I'd be fine with it, you know? In the end, I do feel like the order I picked is my order, but I don't know. It was tough this year. So I get the struggle.
I mean, and it's like, yep, this is number 8, but easily could be number 7, and number 7 could have easily been number 8. Like, they're very juxtaposable. And right. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. But no, Lady Bird.
Lady Bird, you're number 8.
Number 8.
Yasha, you're number 7.
My number 7 is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I mean, what could I say? I enjoyed this movie. I didn't think it was top 5 worthy. That's just for me. I thought it was good. Not nearly as good as the first one, but I did enjoy it, and I had a good time with it. So I thought I'd throw it in there at number 7.
Very nice. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at number 7. My number 7 is a film that I don't know, for a long time I would have thought it was just going to be a lot higher on this list, and then I just saw their films and it didn't happen that way. But yeah, my number 7 is Blade Runner 2049. What does that look, Michelle?
Sorry, I can't breathe.
You gonna be all right?
No.
Wow.
Is this a problem?
Yeah, I'm more stunned by Michelle's reaction than David's pick.
I don't think you guys understand. Like, David was so excited about seeing this film, and he was happy after seeing this film. So for it being,
it's on my top 10.
And I acknowledge that. I assumed it was top 5 with you. Oh my god!
It's Blade Runner 2049. So as a sequel, Denis Villeneuve has made a film that is gorgeous. It is, I mean, no matter how much you may love the original Blade Runner, there's no doubt this is a better film than the original Blade Runner. And I say that as someone who, I love the original film, but I also admit it's a product of its time. If you go back and watch that, and especially if you're watching it for the first time recently, like you did, Bobby, I mean, you're probably going to go, really? Is this when everybody's like, like, what's the big deal? But I don't know. It's got an atmosphere from when that movie came out that I don't know. Like, I dig. And I'll still enjoy watching the original Blade Runner. And then in this film, he made basically a movie with that same atmosphere, but it's actually a better story. And yeah, it's long, but I don't mind sitting in a movie for 3 hours, movie theater for 3 hours and watching this. And it bums me out that now I'll never get the chance to see this again, probably, at least not for a long time, unless it gets a re-release. But I won't get the chance to see this in a movie theater again, because I'm definitely going to need to buy an 80-inch 4K television now to fully enjoy this film. So that's my reasoning when I'm going to buy one with my tax return, right? Yeah.
You know what, David? That's actually, I think you might be a little bit off on that. I think that you will get a chance to see that. I totally picture a time when we'll see a double feature of those two movies, Blade Runner 1 and 2, in the theater. So I think
agree,
you will get to see that.
I could see our art house here in town doing it at some point.
Absolutely. But at the same time, it's like, this is a movie. No offense to our art house theater.
No, I know what you're going to say.
I'd like to see it in an IMAX screen or in a Dolby Cinema screen.
Trust me, our Dolby tickets that day were
well worth it.
Well worth every penny invested.
But yeah, it's a huge, of course, it's a huge bummer to me. And I want to say to all of us, I believe we all agree on this, that this movie did the numbers it did in the box office, and it does not seem like we're going to see another one of these movies. And even though Ridley Scott could say all day that, I've got an idea for a third film, but come on, it's not going to happen.
It not doing as well as I thought wounds my heart.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve made a great film here. I can't wait to see what else he does. I know what he's probably making a Dune remake, and I can't wait to see other original works from him. He's an amazing filmmaker. Blade Runner 2049 was excellent, but yeah, it's a number 7 for me. And I mean, hey, it's in my top 10. I love the movie. But
yeah, I assumed it was going to be a little lower than that. Wow.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Michelle. All right, Bobby, what was your number 7 film of the year?
My number 7 is The Shape of Water, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, and it's essentially a modern day telling of Beauty and the Beast. And when you have this human that falls in love with this otherworldly creature, and it's this love story. But what I really enjoyed about this movie is that Sally Hawkins, who plays the main character, she's mute. So all of the acting that she does is within her facial expressions and the way she holds her body and her mannerisms. And she just does it so well. And Octavia Spencer, who plays her best friend in the movie, does a good supporting cast in it. But really, the other person in here who shines a lot is Michael Shannon. And he always plays a good bad guy, but he's especially bad in this movie and does it super well. I mean, he just seems so cut out for playing evil bastards, and he just does it really well. And just the fact that this movie was made on such a small budget, I believe it was like under 30 million or something like that. And the effects of what you get when you look at the creature, this sort of, I don't know what you would call him, kind of like a merman kind of thing looking. But Doug Jones just puts so much emotion into the prosthetics of what he has. And I love the fact that a lot of it is just this prosthetics and makeup and things of that nature, to where it's not this overly CGI'd affair. And it just is a well-told story that I enjoyed a lot. The only the weird thing I always thought about, or made me think about in this movie, which made me think about in other movies like this, is it's always interesting when the human falls in love with this creature thing, because you kind of get that because you've seen that story told so many times. But why does the creature ever fall for a human? Because you would think that a human would look so grotesque to a beast kind of thing that like, why would you want to be with a human being? I don't know, but the story always seems to work out that way, to where the feeling is mutual, and it just kind of goes to transcend beyond the looks of a person and what's inside. But I really enjoyed the story, so that's my number 7. Very nice. Michelle, your number 7.
My number 7, that could have been number 8, but is also number 7. And it's a movie you guys have already talked about, and that's Molly's Game. I mean, ditto to what David and Bobby said about this film already. Aaron Sorkin, I mean, I bow down. I'm not worthy. Like Wayne and Garth. I mean, I'm just there. So, yeah, it is a very well told story, and I'm amazed at Jessica Chastain's acting, and it's so good, and just the dialogue is so smart and fast, and it's delivered with such a preciseness that goes with Aaron Sorkin, and I expect nothing less from him. And it's just I left that theater going, man, that was good storytelling right there, and that's what I want to feel. I want that feeling, and I like it. I want that every time I see movies, and yeah, it's good. I wish I could say more. You guys have already kind of said it. And yeah, Molly's Game. Go see that bad boy.
Molly's Game. Michelle's number 7. Moving up to number 6. Yasha, what's your number 6 film?
My number 6 is Colossal. Nice. Do you guys remember that little independent film that came out?
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
Don't read too much into that, Michelle.
I can tell by Michelle's response.
She's like, man, David's got it as number 1 film.
I don't think you understand. I've spent most of the evening trying to needle David and get what he wants out of his list, and he won't tell me a damn thing. But just now, he looked at his paper, and I was like, oh God, he's looking at the paper.
Jeez. No, sorry, Yasha. Please continue.
No, it's cool. It was Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, and I thought it was darkly funny, dark comedy, and I thought it just was an all-around really twisted kind of way to tell a story. The double meaning behind it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and I would definitely recommend it to other people as well. So I just thought the story was great. It was interesting, and it was a different take. I tried to explain it to a friend of mine today when I was talking about my top 10, and he looked like I had lost my mind. So maybe I didn't do a really good job of it, but I would definitely recommend it to people because I thought it was really well done.
It's such a cool kind of like monster movie. Like,
yeah,
what happens? I would have never thrown those two things. It's a cool movie. It really is. Yeah.
It is.
Nice pick, Yasha.
Good pick. But good pick at number 6, Colossal. That means I guess it's my turn for number 6, huh? All right, number 6.
Yeah.
I got a videotape of the kids illegally entering the utility room.
Don't let guilty, okay? Hey, Scooty. Do you hear what I just said?
I got it. I'm gonna talk to her.
Captain Skin, you're out of here. It's only second week of the summer and there's already been a dead fish in the pool.
We were doing an experiment. We were trying to get it back alive. That wasn't my idea.
And water balloons thrown at tourists. You can't fuck with tourists.
They didn't tip us.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh my God, this is unacceptable. I failed as a mother, Mooney. You've disgraced me.
Harley?
Yeah, Mom, you're disgraced.
And I'm going to talk to Ashley, by the way. When your friend puts you in charge of her kid, that kid becomes your responsibility. You ain't taking responsibility. And you got that one, too. She's from Futureland, right?
Oh, whatevs. You gotta relax, my man.
You gonna redo my expense reports with your whatevs? Your kid killed my night. I wanted to watch the ball game. You're gonna pay me for 3 hours that I gotta work later?
Hey, guys, pay the man for his 3 hours.
I don't have any money.
We don't have any money. You're shit out of luck.
Of which, you haven't given me this week's rent yet.
You don't think I know that? Chill.
So yeah, my number 6 film is The Florida Project. Yeah, I've talked about it on the show before. It's based right here in good old Orlando, right outside of Disney World, about a family who's basically homeless but living in some of the more rundown motels, hotels around that area. And I don't know. It's incredibly good. It's told basically from the point of view of the young girl that you heard in that clip, and it's her and her mother living in this hotel. And Willem Dafoe is in the film as well. He's so good in it, playing a manager of this motel that they live in. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really good movie. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not higher up on my list. I think for a little while there, it was way up there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love the movie just as much as I did when I first saw it. But yeah, right now it's in my number 6 spot. So The Florida Project is my number 6 film.
No, it was an excellent film. And just now, like listening to that clip, I'm sitting here like giggling.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh god, it's just like it is an extremely well told story. And yeah, the perspective from the little girl. Yeah, no, Florida Project is quite good.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because I've heard, a lot of the rumblings out there of people loving the movie but not liking the ending, and I actually will fully disagree with those opinions.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater, especially from the point of view of seeing it in a movie theater in Orlando and kind of listening to people in the movie theater react to the ending, because we all know the area so well, and to see how it plays out. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but because it's so like, wait, what the hell is happening right now?
It's very fantastical.
Yes, but there's to me there's a point to it, and it's hard to talk about without getting into spoilers, so I won't say much about it. But I don't know, it worked for me, and I have my reasons why it worked, and I can talk about it again another time. But yeah, I dug the movie a lot. So yeah, The Florida Project is my number 6.
I just saw it for the first time. I think it was last week, and it's absolutely a good movie. But man, is it crazy just watching that and just thinking that, because the way the movie is set up and structured, it really just sort of seems like a day in the life, and you're just kind of seeing what this family goes through, and it's pretty crazy. And the idea that this mother-daughter dynamic, I mean, just a lot of the different things that go on in the movie, and the love that this mom has for her kid is there, but it's like she's not doing enough as a mother. It's just there's all this stuff to unpack when you watch the movie, because it's pretty it's pretty detailed in what it's doing, and there's this underlying message there that just goes beyond just the surface of what you're seeing, and it's very well told.
No, it is. Yeah, it's just, I think, I mean, for us here, we're in Orlando, because that's where it's the whole story takes place. Like we know this occurs, and I just don't know if the rest of the United States, the rest of the nation knows that this is life down there, and I don't think they realize that. I think it's very shocking to people to find out that this is literally right outside the gates of the most wonderful place on the earth, and it's every day, all the time.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, Bobby, what was your number 6 film?
My number 6 is Coco. Now, this movie, it really caught me by surprise, because I remember when I first saw the previews for it, I really didn't think much of it. Honestly, it looked visually like it was cool, but the storyline, nothing about it grabbed me. But when I actually sat down and watched this film, and you see this, what it means, and it being another one of Pixar's original films that obviously they've been doing sequels throughout some of the years interspersed with original films, but it was nice to see Pixar return to form and do another original film, and this being one that was culturally relevant to Mexicans, and having this Land of the Dead, Day of the Dead celebrated, and showing you a little bit about it. And it didn't feel like it was kind of talking down to you. I mean, it does get into a little bit of the details in terms of explaining things, but that's necessary, especially for younger kids that are watching this. But I just thought it did a really good job of fleshing out characters and telling this really heartfelt story about this boy and his willingness and desire to play a guitar when music has been banned from his family, and just showing how that relationship works. I just thought it was done really, really well.
Very nice. Coco, you're number 6. Michelle?
Yeah, so my number 6 pick is The Shape of Water. This film is it's so well done. It's such a wonderful romance. I mean, it's different. And it's charming and weird and beautiful and ugly all at the same time in this one story. And I think, I don't know, it's a little bit different than I think the traditional, like Bobby was saying, Beauty and the Beast in a way, but it shows the beauty and the ugliness in everybody and anyone. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I walked out of that feeling elevated in a way after seeing that film. Guillermo did a spectacular job, and he should be patting himself on the back because it was really good.
He's patting himself on the back with his Golden Globe right now.
Yes, he should. Yes,
scratching his back.
Golden Globe. Golden Globe is happening. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that's No, I hope to see it continue to do well in this award season that we go into because it was a very well done movie. Yeah,
very nice. All right, we're halfway through. Moving up to our number 5s. Yasha, your number 5 film of the year.
Logan. I really enjoyed that. I think it was better than I think it was better than 5, but better than 10, but I put it at number 5. And I think it was a shame that, this is Hugh Jackman's final role in the character. Hopefully maybe he feels reinvigorated to do another movie or tag on to an Avengers movie or something or some cameo, but, maybe going out when he's done it perfect and done it at the top is just the way to go, and I'm okay with that. Loved the movie, thought it was fantastic. Sad to see it go on such a high note.
All right, my number 5 film of the year.
I want to go where culture is, like
how
New
in the
York,
world did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the
Get
woods.
into those schools anyway.
Mom,
You can't even pass your driver's test.
because you wouldn't let me practice
The way
enough.
that you work, or the way that you don't work, you're not even worth state tuition, Christine.
My name is Ladybird.
Well, actually, it's not, and it's ridiculous.
Call me
because your name
Ladybird
is
like you
Christine.
said you would.
You should just go to City College. With your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
Lady Bird has been talked about already by you, Michelle. It was at your number 8. It's at my number 5. It's incredibly good. It was rocking 100% rating for quite a while there on Rotten Tomatoes, and more recently finally lost it to, I forget who that was, but anyway, I don't know. I think it's well deserved. I don't love all coming of age stories, but this one definitely worked for me. And the writing, the acting, there's really nothing I could find wrong with this movie. I was really, really happy with it when I walked out of it. And I don't know what else there is to say that you didn't already mention, Michelle. So, yeah, Lady Bird is my number 5 film of the year. If you've heard all the raving about it, I would say it's well deserved. So, Bobby, your number 5 film.
Yeah, my number 5 for 2017 is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Hey, fuckhead!
What? Don't say what, Dixon, when she comes in calling you a fuckhead? And don't you
Shut
come
up!
in here.
You get over here.
No. You get over here.
All right.
What? Don't, Dixon!
What?
You do not allow a member of the public to call you a fuckhead in the station house.
That's what I'm doing. I'm taking care of it in my own way, actually. Now get out of my ass. Mrs. Hayes, have a seat. What is it I can do for you today?
Where's Denise Watson?
Denise Watson's in the clank.
On what charge?
Possession.
Of what?
2 marijuana cigarettes. Big ones.
When's the bail hearing?
I asked the judge not to give her bail on account of her previous marijuana violations, and the judge said sure.
You fucking prick.
You do not call an officer of law a fucking prick in his own station house, Mrs. Hayes. Or anywhere, actually.
What's with the new attitude, Dixon? Your mama been coaching you?
No. My mama doesn't do that. Take him down. You hear me?
Three Billboards.
Yeah, so it was a recent recipient of some Golden Globe Awards, and I just thought that the star of the movie, Frances McDormand, as this mother who's trying to solve her daughter's murder, that she's trying to hold the local sheriff and police accountable as to them trying to do their jobs, and she's trying to make sure that that person is found. She plays this role. It's like, man, it's just a force of nature. It's this. What they do with all these characters. There's also, I'm sure if you've seen the Golden Globes, you saw Sam Rockwell win for his performance as well, and Woody Harrelson is in it, but you don't see him in the promotion of it as much. But he does a good job as well. And I think what the main good thing about this movie that I really enjoyed is the way that on the surface of it, you're rooting for this mom, but yet there's times when you're against what she's doing, and then that happens across the board with other characters. There's times when you're just rooting against characters, then you find yourself rooting for them, and it's being able to walk this tightrope in such a way when you're dealing with this heavy subject matter, but still able to pull comedy out of it, and the comedy works in the way that it does. It's not an easy feat. And so I just really enjoyed the way they were able to weave these things together and make these complicated characters that you just can't just pigeonhole into them being right or wrong. So I really enjoyed it. That was my number 5.
Awesome. Your number 5, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Michelle, your number 5 film of the year.
My number 5 film. Now I'm gonna have to look at my list. Oh, it's so good! I'm so excited. Nobody said this yet. Yes,
oh, it's a new one.
It's a new one. Woo! All right.
One said mine.
Huh?
That's true. This was a new one as well.
Oh, his was new one too. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm gonna say it, and you guys are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's on my list too," and I'm gonna be like, "That's right." My number 5 is Get Out.
I didn't want to tell you.
What?
I got hypnotized last night.
Nigga, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah, to quit smoking, but it's Rose's mom's a psychiatrist, so...
Bruh, I don't care if the bitch is Ayanna Van Zandt, okay? She can't fix my motherfucking life. You ain't getting in my head.
I know, she called me off guard, right? But it's cool, because I'm cured. It worked.
Bruh, how you not scared of this, man? Look, they could have made you do all types of stupid shit. They'd have you fucking barking like a dog, flying around like you're a fucking pigeon, looking ridiculous, okay? Or, I don't know if you know this, white people love making people sex slaves and shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not a kinky sex family, dog.
Look, Jeffrey Dahmer was eating the shit out of niggas' heads, okay? But that was after he fucked the heads. Do you think they saw that shit coming? Hell no, okay?
And thanks for that image right there, man.
Hey, man, I ain't making this shit up I saw on A&E, man. It's real life.
Yo, and it's the black people out here, too. It's like all of them missed the movement.
Because they probably hypnotized.
Yeah, Get Out. I mean, oh, God. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I feel like you might be under a rock somewhere. But, God, y'all, I mean, this film... It's hard to actually just numb this down to a really quick review, but Get Out is for sure one of the absolute best films of 2017, hands down. Jordan Peele wrote and directed such a spectacular movie. The story is done, it's done so well. It unfolds so well. The flow of it is so good. And then the script, the acting, and just everything. I mean, and the thing that's about this film is it's like, I mean, I think it generally falls under the scary movie aspects, you know, of a thriller. Some say horror. I don't like calling it a horror film, but I mean, it's a comedy, and it's a scary movie, and it's a social commentary movie, and it's just so many things. It just does not fit into one box, and that's one of the other things I absolutely love about this film. And I just, if you haven't seen this film, get it, buy it, rent it, see it. It's on HBO right now. Like, do it, stream it. This movie is so good. And yeah, no, my praises. It just, yeah, no, it's good stuff. I'm good. I'm out. Mic drop.
All right. You sure that wasn't your number one?
I mean, it just gets better from here, okay? My excitement level just continues to go up. So, yeah, no, Get Out is so good, dude.
Oh, I mean, I'm good. That's a great pick. Number 5,
Anyway.
Get Out. Moving up to number 4, Yasha. What's your number 4 film?
My number 4 film, Get Out.
Yeah.
Follow right in the same vein as what Michelle was saying. I have actually, one of my closest friends actually went out on a limb and said to me that he did not enjoy the film. He thought it was stupid. I don't understand why he's so against it. I almost feel like it's just somebody saying something to the point of saying just for the sake of disagreeing with the masses. You know what I mean? How people just do that. It's like, was Godfather 2 really that great of a movie? No, it really wasn't. You know, it's like that kind of thing. It's like, you know, finding something to argue with it just for the sake of arguing, because everything that he said just doesn't make sense when it comes to this movie. But this movie was fantastic. I'm going to co-sign on everything that Michelle just said. If you haven't seen this movie, you need to see this movie. It is bizarre, wonderful, and I love it.
Very nice. Get Out, number 4, back to back. But I will break the streak. My number 4 is The Shape of Water. It's already been mentioned, how many times here? A couple times?
3?
Twice?
Well, yeah. You beat the third.
Bobby and Michelle, you've already had it on your list at 7 and number 6.
No clips, huh?
No clips. That's a tough one. Someone doesn't speak in that movie, so...
The main character's a mute.
Yes. So pulling clips for that one, not so simple. Anyway, The Shape of Water from Guillermo del Toro. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's fantastic. In my opinion, I think it's the best movie he's made yet. It's definitely pleasant to see as well, coming off of Crimson Peak, which I was not all that thrilled with, and I had high hopes for, and it just did not work for me. But The Shape of Water is a whole nother ball game, and I highly recommend The Shape of Water. It's quite good. It's funny too, when I saw it, I had just, I think that week, rewatched Edward Scissorhands, and I had not seen that movie in a long time. And Edward Scissorhands is a movie that is a movie I absolutely love. Like, I've loved for a long time. And then to go see this, and I'm like, it's quite similar, you know? I mean, we've got someone falling in love with someone or something, in this case, that would not be the normal object of someone's love. And I don't know, it was interesting coming off of Edward Scissorhands and then going into this, and I don't know, this movie is just it's excellent. So it's up at 9, number 4, The Shape of Water. Bobby, your number 4 film of the year.
My number 4 is Blade Runner 2049. And you said a lot, David, so I can't really say too much more other than the fact that for a movie of this kind, where the original film that I only barely just saw for the first time last year and just came away with it thinking it was just okay, for this movie to be in my top 10, and not only in my top 10, but in my top 5, is really a testament to what Denis Villeneuve did with this movie, and just really elevated it from where it was in the original, and taking this story to a place that really was engaging and just thoughtful, and really had me really involved in the story and not knowing where it was going to go. And just, as you said, the visuals are just stunning and really beautiful, to the point where I know once it comes out on 4K Ultra HD, I'm buying that, because we do have a OLED set here that's really nice to watch those 4K Blu-rays on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that again and once it comes out on home video.
Excellent. Blade Runner 2049 at your number 4. Michelle, your number 4 film of the year.
My number 4 film is... Oh, I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'm so giddy right now. I'm so giddy. My number 4 film is a film I was looking forward to for a very, very long time, and that is Wonder Woman.
Please slow down, Diana.
That's your leader? How could he say that? Believe that? And you, was your duty to simply give them a book? No. You didn't stand your ground. You didn't fight.
Because there was no chance of changing his mind.
This is Ares, and he's not going to allow a negotiation or a surrender. The millions of people you talked about, they will die.
We are going anyway.
You mean you were lying?
I'm a spy. That's what I do.
How do I know you're not lying to me right now?
I am taking you to the front. We are probably gonna die. This is a terrible idea. We're gonna need reinforcements.
Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
Oh, I know. I agree, Yasha. That's why it's my number 4. Such a good film. It's hard to narrow this bad boy down, but honestly, Patty Jenkins directed such a spectacular, not just film, but superhero film and origin story film. And I mean, she nailed it, dude. I'm sorry. And you guys, anyone in the world can fight me with this, but I think this story it unravels in such a spectacular way. And the way she captures the essence of what this character is and stands for is just told in such a beautiful way on film. Gal Gadot is mesmerizing. You cannot take your eyes off of her. And when she talks, you fall in love with her for a second time. It's so many good things all wrapped up into one. Just the scenery, the color scheme, the music, the script. I think it's smart and it's funny and it's hard and brutal and yet still filled with love. And it's everything that Wonder Woman is. And I cannot begin to stop talking about how good of a film Patty Jenkins did. God bless her.
Michelle, you made me laugh when you said that you don't care, you'll fight anyone who disagrees with you. Because I was thinking, I don't think anybody's disagreeing.
I don't think so either. Really but to anybody who dares,
just in case,
I will take up my sword.
All right, Wonder Woman, you're number 4. And now we're to our top 3 films.
Top 3 films of 2017. I don't know where that's coming from.
Oh, nice.
Please,
nice
carry on.
I'm sorry.
Musical interlude by Michelle.
I'm going to bling that on the drink.
All right, Yasha. What is your number 3 film of the year?
Number 3, Thor Ragnarok. Thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Thought it was hilarious. Really enjoyed the world that they created when it came to this character, and having the Hulk go head to head in it was just as much fun as I was hoping. I was not disappointed. I enjoyed this movie. Can't wait to see what they do next. If Chris Hemsworth decides to sign another contract and do another Thor movie, I would be all on board with that, especially if they can kind of keep with the same tone and the humor that they had in it. Loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait for more. Looking forward to Avengers Infinity War. So, yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, your number 3.
Number 3.
It did end with a really good setup. I will definitely give it that.
You talking about an after credit scene you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say the last 20 minutes of that film. Really
Gotcha.
Good setup.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess that means it's time for my number 3.
What? How many of those do you have?
Oh, I got different iPods for different days and moods.
Oh, and you're in a pink and glittery mood.
I am now.
What is your name?
Baby.
Wait, what? Your name's Baby. B-A-B-Y, Baby.
Yeah?
Well, then you have us all beat. Every damn song is about you. We could drive back and forth across the states forever and never run out of Baby songs.
We might run out of gas.
Did your mom call you Baby as a kid?
Sometimes.
She used to work here?
Sometimes, but she was a singer, too.
What does she do now?
Nothing. find Deborah, Sean.
Debbie! Crying out loud.
Play it for me sometime. I don't have to get out of here. Deal?
Yeah, deal.
You know what you want yet?
To get out of here.
Baby Driver. It's been mentioned by you, Michelle. It was at your number 9. It's at my number 3. I don't know. I think I've probably said before how much I love to see music used in such a creative way in any movie. It's probably part of the reason why I'm such a huge Tarantino fan. And it's part of the reason why I've always been such a big Edgar Wright fan. And the way he uses music in this is just incredible. And then just the action in this, the storytelling in this, I don't know. I don't really have any flaws with this movie. It just really, really works for me, and thoroughly enjoy Baby Driver. Maybe for a little while there, it was even higher up than this for me, and maybe that's crazy to some people, and because I haven't heard it on many lists, which has been disappointing to me. But I don't know. I unapologetically put Baby Driver at my number 3 film of the year. So that's where I stand. Moving on to you, Bobby. What's your number 3 film?
Yeah, before I get to that, I thought for sure going into our top 10 that Baby Driver was going to be your number 1, or possibly The Florida Project was going to be your number 1.
So
I'm very excited to see what your number 1 is going to be now.
It's funny. I actually mouthed to David. I was like, I knew it. I knew this was your I knew I could have put money that this movie was going to be his number 3. I don't know how.
You had it at 3.
I had it at 3. I knew it wasn't your number 1, and I still don't have a freaking clue what your number 1 is. But
that's awesome. Good.
But I knew. I was like $20 says number 3. Like, I literally should have put money on this. Oh.
All right.
Can you pick out some lotto numbers for me, Michelle, and send those over to me?
I mean, I'm horrific at that, but this, I was like, I don't know what it was. I think I know his love for Baby Driver. Like, he has the album and everything. Like, I know how much he loved this film. Like, I know. And it's just one of the things, like, I was like, this is going to be his number 3. Like, there's just no way. I just had this gut feeling. I was like, I don't think this is number 1, but gosh darn it, it's definitely. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would be one thing to go, oh, this person loves this movie, that's going to be their number 1 film, but to go 3, exactly. 3.
I just had this feeling. I was like, I don't think he's going to put it right in the number 1 slot. I just had this weird, I was like, I just don't think it's going to be the number 1 or the number 2. I know. And I was like, God damn it. Like, just when you said it, I was like, damn it, I should have put money on that.
That's funny. All right. So Bobby, your number 3 film.
My number 3 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
What was that? Nothing.
You're the Spider-Man from YouTube.
I'm not.
You were on the ceiling.
What was it? Ned, what are you doing in my room?
Man, let me in. You said we're going to finish a Death Star. She doesn't know.
Nobody knows. Well, I mean, Mr. Stark knows because he made my suit, but that's it.
Well, Tony Stark made you that. Are you an Avenger?
Yeah, basically. Dude, you can't tell anybody about this. You gotta keep it a secret.
A secret? Why?
Don't you know what she's like? If she finds out people try and kill me every single night, she's not gonna let me do this anymore.
Okay. I'll level with you. I don't think I can keep this a secret. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
So Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, for a character to be on its 3rd iteration with 3 different actors playing it, and spanning a decade at least of movies, it's insane how good and creative Marvel and Sony were to be able to come up with this character played by Tom Holland and give him this youth and enthusiasm that he's had in the comic books for so long, and for that finally to be displayed on screen. And it's just well thought out in the way that they integrated him into the Marvel Universe after you saw him first come out in Captain America Civil War, and bringing Iron Man Tony Stark into this as a way of kind of showing him the ropes in a way of trying to groom him to be a superhero, but him still going through those growing pains. it was just well done. And then you have Michael Keaton as the bad guy in Vulture. He did a really good job, a standout job, and not just being just this two-dimensional character. He was very much had this complexity to him as well, sort of like what you had in the original franchise when you had Spider-Man 2, when it was Dr. Octopus. It was just a layered character and not just your typical bad guy. So I just really thought that Marvel and Sony's first pairing together of having this character in the MCU was really, really good, and that's why it made my number 3.
Very nice. Michelle, your number 3 film of the year.
My number 3 was Blade Runner 2049.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No clips.
I know. You know what? This is a hard one to find clips for.
It's funny because Michelle asked me a couple times before, like, "Oh, you didn't find a clip for Blade 2049 at 49?"
I'm like, it's such a major film this year.
Funny, like I had a really hard time finding clips for that movie.
Wow.
So yeah, no clips. Sorry.
Well, I mean, there's not a ton of dialogue in this, and what dialogue there is, I'm sure it's pretty steeped into maybe not spoiler territory. It's just that really the dialogue is so sparse, and what there is so good that it's probably pretty hard to find online. I don't know. Anyways, Blade Runner 2049. I won't prattle on too much, but this movie, I thought the story was it was a solid story, and I thought it was told in such a spectacular way. If you ever listen to the show, you know I love Denis Villeneuve. Like, I wish that at some point in time in my life I can be an ingenue of his. Like, it would be okay with me. I'm super down with that. I think he is a spectacular director. I think he helps tell a story in such a beautiful way, visually and with music and sound and with his actors. It just, I don't know, it gets me. And this one is no different. And I think the setting, the color scheme, the cinematography, the music. I mean, it was Hans Zimmer? Yeah. It's the music is so it's hard and it's very stark, but it goes so well with the settings, and it moves me, and I love. I enjoy. I had a feeling I was going to enjoy this movie, and I enjoyed it far more and exceeded my expectations more than I think I ever thought it was going to. So, Blade Runner 2049 is solid for me.
There's no doubt that you love Denis Villeneuve, because if anyone is doubting that, just check out our Instagram when we were at Comic-Con and Michelle spotted him. The level of octaves in which her voice went up when she was shouting his name, it was just like on a different spectrum level, because it was so enthusiastic and filled with so much joy and happiness, and it was just wonderful. So yeah, definitely check that out, because she does love her some Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not stalker at all. It's fine.
No.
Super cool. I wasn't just waiting outside the gate with my phone ready to go take a picture. No. Super did not do that. Yeah.
All right. So we're at our top 2. Yasha, what's your number 2 film?
My number 2 will be Wonder Woman. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like I said this a second ago, that movie was all kinds of awesome. I actually need to watch it again. I've only seen it once, I think. It was once, yeah. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again. So, yeah, Wonder Woman's my number 2.
That was a pretty quick review.
Yeah.
Just to the point.
Yeah, to the point.
Yash is down.
All right. My number 2 film of the year.
Hello.
Fuck, hi.
I owe you an apology. How rude of me to have touched your belongings without asking.
Oh, no, it's cool. I was just confused.
Well, I can assure you there was no funny business. Allow me to explain. I lifted your cellular phone to wipe down the dresser, and it accidentally came undone.
Yeah, I
Rather than meddle with it further, I left it that way. How foolish of me.
It's fine. I wasn't trying to snitch.
Snitch.
Rat you out.
Tattletale.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I can assure you, I don't answer to anyone.
Right. All I know is sometimes, if there's too many white people, I get nervous, you know?
So yeah, Get Out is my number 2 film. And I know we keep saying it every time someone is like already listed a movie and then we get to it and we're like, oh, you've already said it. But Michelle, really, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, it's a social commentary that's perfect right now in this moment in our time. And it's got scares and it's funny. And the acting is incredibly good. And it's just an overall really entertaining film that is very good at being many different things. How Get Out, it's amazing. It's easily my number 2. Toyed with my number 1, but right now this is where it sits. My number 2 film of the year is Get Out. It came out earlier in the year. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, like Michelle said, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go see this movie. No, go see Get Out. It's excellent. So that's my number 2 movie of the year. Bobby.
Yes, sir.
Your number 2 film of the year.
My number 2 is Get Out.
Then he sent me some weird picture, and I'm like, oh, man, that's Andre Haysworth. This dude been missing for 6 months, right? So I do all my research, because as a TSA agent, you guys are detectives. I got the same training, we might know more than y'all sometimes, because we dealing with some terrorist shit. So, but that's a totally different story. So look, I go do my detective work, right? And I start putting pieces together. And see, this is what I came up with. They're probably abducting black people, brainwashing them, and making them slaves, or sex slaves, not just regular slaves, but sex slaves and shit. See, I don't know if it's the hypnosis that's making them slaves or whatnot. But all I know is they already got 2 brothers we know, and it could be a whole bunch of brothers they got already. What's the next move?
And don't ever say that I don't do nothing for you. Oh, white girl. Oh, they get you every time.
So Get Out.
I'm sorry. I love this movie. It's so good.
So Bobby, please.
Yeah. I didn't know if Michelle was going to go on a little bit longer. So that's my number 2. And only thing else I can really add to the conversation is just that the way that it plays on these different levels, when you are a black male and you can see this on the screen and you relate to it in a way that maybe not everyone else can, and you see the subtleties of different things and what they mean, and it's just really well captured by Jordan Peele to be able to show that. And I just thought when I was watching it, for something to be so true and so tapped in, I just never would have guessed that it would have become so big and popular as it did. I just figured it'd be this niche movie that, a lot of black audiences would go see and respond to it and give that sort of knowing nod that you give to one another when you see something like that. But it became this really big cultural thing that really pushed the conversation. And that's not an easy thing to do. And when a film can accomplish that, it's a huge thing. And for a movie that came out as early as it did, I believe it was like around February or so, and for it to be still in talks now, even possible Oscar consideration, is such a huge accomplishment. And kudos to Jordan Peele for that as well. And yeah, there's not much else I can say about it, but I loved it.
It's interesting, too, when you think about more recently, there's been so much kind of coverage on the fact that Lady Bird was so well rated on Rotten Tomatoes for so long, and it still is, but it was holding that 100% for such a long time. And it's easy to forget that in the same year, earlier in this movie, Get Out was in the same position. It held 100% for a long time on there until it famously lost it to a particular critic. But we've had 2 movies in 1 year that were holding 100% on Rotten Tomatoes with many, many reviews counted for a while there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Michelle, your number 2 film of the year.
My number 2 is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I'd do anything to catch the guy who did it, Mrs. Hayes, but when the DNA don't match no one who's ever been arrested, and when the DNA don't match any other crime nationwide, and when there wasn't a single eyewitness from the time she left your house to the time we found her, well, right now, there ain't too much more we can do.
Could pull blood from every man and boy in this town over the age of 8.
There's civil rights laws prevents that, Mrs. Hayes. And what if he was just passing through town?
Pull blood from every man in the country, then.
And what if he was just passing through the country?
If it was me, I'd start up a database. Every male baby was born, stick him on it. And as soon as he'd done something wrong, cross-reference it, make 100% certain it was a correct match, then kill him.
Yeah, well, there's definitely civil rights laws prevents that. I'm doing everything I can to track him down. I don't think those billboards is very fair.
The time it took you to get out here whining like a bitch, Willoughby, some other poor girl's probably out there being butchered right now. But I'm glad you got your priorities straight. I'll say that for you.
This film, I'm not gonna lie, this film and my number 1, these 2 were very difficult for me to weed out, and David's smiling right now because he's probably figured out my number 1. But my number 2 film being 3 Billboards, I don't know, it resonates on so many levels, and I have to say I feel that Martin McDonagh wrote and directed a spectacular story. And it makes me almost regret the fact that I've never seen his other films. I've never seen In Bruges. I've never seen 7 Psychopaths. And now I need to go back and I need to see these films because he wrote and directed those. And this movie, there's so many things that are right with this film that I know right now it's getting a lot of criticism for some of the things that are wrong. But the things that are right in this film, I don't think just outweigh the criticisms for the wrong. I think it blows them out of the water. What the message that they're actually trying to get through is so meaningful and so impactful. And I can't see anybody not understanding where this mother is coming from and the pain that she is in and the pressures that she's putting and the pressures society's putting on her and what everything is happening in this tiny town. And if you've ever lived in a small town, you understand the mentalities that are happening there, and they're not forgivable, but you understand them. You know it, and it's not comforting, and it's very unsettling. But unfortunately, it kind of is the way it is. But I don't know. It's a story that is told and unfurled in such a way that it's ugly. It's not pretty, but at the same time, there's moments of beauty in it that just are captivating. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm watching Frances McDormand on screen, and I'm just like, damn girl, like she rocked it. She totally rocked it. And Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell, it's all good, dude. Like everything about this film, I'm very happy with. The very small problems I have with it, I can completely throw out the window because everything else is just so right. So, yeah.
Very nice. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Your number 2 film. All right, guys. We're at our number 1.
Number 1.
I got to say, it's interesting looking at these lists. So, Michelle, I know what your number 1 is. That's a given.
Shut up. You know... I think I know what your number 1 is. It makes you feel better.
No, we'll see. But I know what your number 1 is.
I know you know what my number 1 is.
And then Yasha, I'm like, I think I know what you're going to say. I think.
Well, I'm interested to hear it, David. What do you think my number 1 is?
I feel like Yasha's been the biggest wild card of this entire
Well, the thing is, before I say that, I want to say, though, then I look at Bobby and I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna do, Bobby. I'm a little torn here.
Look at Bobby. Let's see.
I can really see like 3 options on the table for you. Yeah. So I'm a little confused by I wasn't expecting this, but anyway, Yasha, you want? I don't want to guess before you say it. You just tell me. I can if you want me to.
Yeah, Bobby's got a few options, but Yasha is the biggest wild card of this top 10 I've ever seen. Like I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, and I love it. Like I love every time he says a title, I'm like, yeah, like. I
think Yasha kind of revealed his hand ahead of time because he said that, he kind of only got to see some of the big major motion pictures this year. He didn't get a chance to see some of those smaller movies. So you can kind of almost pull it down to a certain thing of what his number one could be. Whereas you guys got to see a lot of different things. So it might be a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I know, but number one.
Yasha, what is your number one film of the year?
My number one is Welcome Home, Spider-Man. It's definitely Spider-Man Homecoming. I just really loved seeing this character on screen. I'm surprised that Bobby didn't put him a little bit higher. But it's just like, I just really love the movie. I just love the character too. So Bobby and I have talked hours and hours about Spider-Man and comic book movies. And I know that this character has been done 3 times over, but I feel like it's just a really fun character again, kind of really with the comic book, and then Michael Keaton playing the bad guy and the very clear setup that they're kind of directing it towards. I was just really happy seeing the character back on the big screen and being done right. And the action was fun. The comedy was fun. The storyline was great. I just really enjoyed it. So that's going to be my number one this year.
That's awesome.
All right. Yeah, I should have said it because that's what I was going to guess, but oh well.
I'm happy to see that our comics, they have a really good standing here, but they're really well dispersed. But at the same time, like our comics are they're very well in there. I'm super proud of us. Yay us.
All right, so I guess I'm at my number one. Michelle, you seem to think you know what I'm going to say. I'm sorry. No. My number one film is indeed 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I just saw this film yesterday. So yeah, maybe there's a bit of it's so fresh, and I don't know, maybe with more time I might feel differently. But that movie, there was a part of me too that was almost like, I don't know if I want to bother seeing it. I've seen so many movies lately. Maybe I'll take a break. But I'm so incredibly glad that I saw 3 Billboards yesterday. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like you said, Bobby and Michelle, like this is a movie that does an amazing job at having such serious subject matter, but at the same time has humor in it that just really works. Almost all of it. It's a surprisingly very funny movie at times. But then, there's moments in this movie that are just disturbing and hard to watch. And that may sound like, oh, wow, that really wouldn't work, but it just really, really does. And the dialogue, the performances, Frances McDormand in this movie is well deserving of that Golden Globe. And it's funny that we just recorded a Side Effect episode where I talked about my surprise that 3 Billboards had won a Golden Globe. And now I get it. I get why this movie is being received the way it is. And kind of like what you hinted at, Michelle, like, there's some critical backlash to, some aspects of this movie, but I don't know, I really can't get into it without talking about details of the movie. And all I'll say is I get it, but kind of like what you said, Michelle, the pros incredibly outweigh the cons, and some of those cons I don't even necessarily agree with. And I don't know, I'd be really interested in maybe even doing like an in-depth review of this on another episode, and we could talk more about that if we want. But for now, I'll just say that this movie very, very much worked for me. I loved just listening to these people talk and being in this little town for a couple hours and experiencing this story. And it may not be perfect. There may be a couple flaws in it that I found odd, but it's telling that even with a couple flaws, I'm still putting this in my number one. So yeah, my number one's 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
It's definitely a film that sparks a conversation, and it's a social, I don't want to say awakening, but I feel like there's so many social contexts to it that are so relevant to this day and time right now. And yeah, we could easily have a show that would go probably an hour without even trying in conversation about some of the topics this movie hits on. There's the main topic, and there's so many other topics that go off of it, and it's a lot. But yeah, this film is it's so good.
Yeah. Bobby Jackson, your number one film of the year.
Yeah, so my number one film of 2017 is Geostorm.
You.
Fuck is Geostorm?
If you had seen the side eye I just gave to David. Wow.
Oh. Hey, I was going to say the Emoji Movie, but Geostorm sounded a little more believable.
You are so funny. You're such a funny man. Oh, Bobby, with the joke. Bobby with the jokes.
Fine, I'll get to my real number one. My actual number one for 2017 is Wind River.
Over here, see this one? See how the toes turned out? The front is much deeper than the back. That says she's running. Come here, I'll show you. She ran until she dropped here. See the pool of blood where her face hit the snow. Now it gets 20 below here at night. So if you fill your lungs up with that cold air when you're running, you can freeze them up. Your lungs fill up with blood. You start coughing it up. So wherever she came from, she ran all the way here. Her lungs burst here. She curled up in that tree line and drowned her own blood.
Well, how far do you think someone could run barefoot out here?
Oh, I don't know. How do you gauge someone's will to live, especially in these conditions? But I knew that girl. She's a fighter. So no matter how far you think she ran, I can guarantee you she ran further.
Yeah, so that's my number one, Wind River. And I did talk about this on the podcast when I saw it when it came out, and it just has stuck with me the entire time from the time I seen it all the way through every movie I kept watching, and it kept being compared to Wind River for me. And just the way this movie is put together, it stars Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. And Jeremy Renner is this tracker who is called in by the local sheriff to help try and investigate this murder of this young girl that happened on this Indian reserve, Native American reserve. And the way it's done, I mean, Jeremy Renner, I think in anything I've seen him in, this is probably up there in terms of his performance, if not his best performance. But the real kind of star of this movie, because it's a slow burner, but it's just well done and told. And the star of this movie to me is the writer and director Taylor Sheridan, who for me has slowly put together this resume of awesome films, because between this and Hell or High Water and Sicario, I mean, those three movies are just like, they're up there for me. And this being his directorial debut in the same way that it's also Aaron Sorkin's for Molly's Game, these have got to be my two favorite writers/directors at the moment, because they're telling these really well thought out stories and compelling characters and just really, really awesome directorial vision in terms of the way that they do these movies. So that's my number one is Wind River.
That's not one of the ones I was going to guess.
No.
But I remember that episode when you saw Wind River, that I think you basically said, this is going to be on my top 10. You knew it.
Yeah.
You even said top 5. I don't remember, but so I pulled a clip for it and had one ready. And it's interesting too, is as I went to pull a clip for it and I watched that clip and then a couple others, you know, I just did this yesterday, and I was like, God damn it, I do want to watch this. This looks good. Like, and Hell or High Water, I loved. What was that, last year?
Yeah, last year. I really enjoyed that one a lot.
I really enjoyed that movie. And,
that was in your top 10, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I definitely will still be watching Wind River soon. But
we'll get to that segment of the show.
Unfortunately, not before we did this. So.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, your number one film of the year.
And I mean, in joking, like I said, like I knew what David's one was after a certain point, and I know he now knows for sure what my number one is because we saw this film together. And afterwards, and I will preface this, but David and I usually do not ever talk about films after we see them.
Yeah, since we're going to talk about them here on the show, we hold off.
We usually don't say anything, but because everything's been kind of condensed this week, we've been seeing a lot of films. I mean, I left the theater seeing this film, and I looked at him, and I was like, this bad boy, not only is in my top 10, but it's in my top 5. And I knew it the moment I walked out of that theater. And it's actually my number one, and that is The Post.
So, can I ask you a hypothetical question?
Oh, dear, I don't like hypothetical questions.
Well, I don't think you're going to like the real one either.
Do you have the papers?
Not yet.
Oh gosh, because you know the position that would put me in. You know, we have language in the prospectus.
Yeah, I know that the bankers can change their mind. And I know what is at stake. You know, the only couple I knew that both Kennedy and LBJ wanted to socialize with was you and your husband, and you owned the damn paper. That's the way things worked. Politicians and the press, they trusted each other so they could go to the same dinner party and drink cocktails and tell jokes while there was a war raging in Vietnam.
I don't know what we're talking about. I'm not protecting Lyndon.
No, you got his former Secretary of Defense, Robert McNamara, the man who commissioned this study. He's one of about a dozen party guests out on your patio.
I'm not protecting any of them. I'm protecting the paper.
Yeah. I mean... Oh, okay. So The Post. I walked out of this film with such a feeling inside of me, and I just went, "Oh my God, that was excellent storytelling!" Like, and I totally agree with David when he said that the film seems a bit rushed at the end. It does. I can completely overlook it because of everything else that happens in this film and the way this story is told. And if you don't know your Vietnam history, if you don't know your American history, the quick synopsis is really that basically 40 years worth of government intel has been hidden from the American public. And then it suddenly comes to light that this has been of knowledge that we were not going to win Vietnam. This was not going to happen in any way, shape, or form. And this light comes out during the Nixon presidency, one of the hardest presidents we've had in most of American history, at least within the 20th century. And it comes down to the New York Times gets it out there, and then Nixon shuts them out. And it's, does the Washington Post continue forward with this idea of the story? Do they hunt it down? Do they get it? Do they publish it? And there's so much writing on it for the Washington Post on so many different levels. And this movie just resonates with me on so many levels, with the freedom of the press and with the way even right now things are in our current climate and the way things were then. And I don't know, it hit home really hard for me. And I think the writing is really smart. I think Steven Spielberg directed an excellent film. I even really enjoyed the score. It's extremely subtle, but John Williams brings it in such a way that when it hits hard in the story, the music follows it right up and it just gets up in there and it makes you get all the feels of the ups and downs of the story. And knowing even the outcome of how this film was going to be, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, how many times can you say that, knowing what the story is going to be, and I'm still going, oh my god, like, is this actually going to, like, you're there, you feel the tension, and Spielberg really builds it really well. Meryl Streep is really good. Tom Hanks is quite excellent. God bless the Hanks man. He just brings it home. Yeah, it's good. I think it's funny. David had said the only way that this film, I think, could have been better is if Aaron Sorkin had written it. And I would agree. I feel like if
Aaron Sorkin had written those.
Oh my God.
That and just to the time, like, I really feel like if this weren't the kind of, and I hate to say rush job, I mean, you can tell they still took as much time as they had to take with this. I mean, it's still incredibly well made, but I do feel like, yeah, if this would have been a 2-year production instead of a 9-month production, it would have been even better. But sorry, go on.
No, I mean, my last thoughts are really, I feel that this film, as much as I'm loving on it right now, I feel like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, I'll sit down and watch this film and I'll still be like, God damn it. That is a really well told story. It's a chunk of our history, and it is portrayed in such a spectacular way, and the cadence of it and just all of it, it's so good. And I highly recommend it. I mean, at the Golden Globes, they made a joke of it, like it was in what's his name's monologue.
Yeah, it's going to win everything.
Yeah, it's going to win everything. And the chick walked out with all these Golden Globes, like overflowing out of her arms. And I was and now that I've seen this film, I'm like, the Post is pretty freaking awesome. And having said that, I had 9 other films on my list that were also spectacular. And yeah, this film just, it got me. This one and 3 Billboards. I mean, it was hard to go back and forth between these 2 films, honestly. But yeah, in the end, The Post just eked it out. But it was good.
Very nice.
I had a chance to see it and I was just going to say, I had a chance to see it this morning, and it was funny. I don't know if the same thing happened in your crowd, but there was applause after the movie ended. Yeah. And even at certain points towards the end, there's like people getting like clapping at certain things that were happening and gasping. It was like, wow, I'm guessing some people don't know what's going to happen here, but it was just interesting. But I didn't expect the applause after the movie ended, but it was kind of nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like it was storytelling that was just done so well that even though I knew the outcome, I feel like they built the tension so well. I mean, it's like watching Apollo 13. You know what happened.
Right.
And yet you still sat and watched that film and you were like, oh my God, you were sweating bullets. You know what's going to happen, but because of the build-up, because it was done so well, it was just... The execution of this, I think, was just superior in a few different levels. But I mean, it's Spielberg. It's hard for me. I will say it's hard to beat him. But yeah.
Well, very good pick, Michelle. At number 1, The Post, and that's our top 10 films of the year. We still got a little more to talk about, real quick. Yasha, I'll go to you first. Yasha, I know you have a few little brief lists that you've put together, and you'll definitely I want you to go through those. But first, if you could, what movies would you call an honorable mention that maybe just quite didn't make your list? And also, was there anything that you didn't get a chance to see this year that you wish you could have seen before you put your list together?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. My honorable mentions are definitely John Wick, Fist Fight, Beauty and the Beast, Life, and Atomic Blonde. Those are all movies that I thoroughly enjoyed and I did like. I mean, I was kind of indifferent about Atomic Blonde for some parts of it being really slow, but it was still, I thought, a really, really kick-ass movie. Charlize Theron was just badass. As for movies that I need to see, that I really wanted to see, Girls Trip is definitely at the top of that list. Bobby keeps raving about it. The Man Who Invented Christmas is something that I really wanted to see as well. The Shape of Water, I, Tonya, The Greatest Showman, Downsizing, All the Money in the World, and 3 Billboards. Those are all movies that I really wanted to see and I just didn't get a chance to see.
Well, if you got free time this week, I could tell you exactly what movie you should go see first. Let me tell you.
Okay, for me... As for honorable mentions, I will say right at 11, it was really hard for me to not put Spider-Man Homecoming on this list. I mean, this is a movie that you all remember. I stood up and applauded on this podcast for that film. and I would do it again. Of all of the comic book films we saw this year, and obviously I put Logan above it on my list, but especially for the MCU stuff, this was way up there. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And the funny thing is, I actually just rewatched it this morning with my son, who had never seen it before. And he seemed to enjoy it. I mean, he's still kind of young for some movies like that, but he seemed to enjoy it. And I watched the whole thing again this morning, and yeah, it's... I've said before, I've never like completely connected with Spider-Man as a character in the movies. I mean, I even enjoyed the Andrew Garfield first Spider-Man, but this one was just almost perfect for a Spider-Man movie for me, and I loved it. It was hard not to put that on the list. Another movie that was really hard not to put on the list, and I'll call it my number 12, was Coco. I mean, to have a movie that I saw this year that I actually teared up at the end of, and I didn't get it on my list, that was tough as well. It hurt me to not put it on here, but Coco was excellent. It just wasn't quite there. Other movies, obviously I didn't get Wonder Woman on there, and Wonder Woman was excellent. I think the thing that hurts Wonder Woman for me is that third act. But don't get me wrong, it is by far the best DC movie we've seen, and it's great, even with that third act being the way it is. But if there's a reason it is not on my list, that would probably be it. And I guess also Call Me by Your Name. I just saw Call Me by Your Name a couple days ago as well, and I think my problem with Call Me by Your Name is I still don't know what I think of it completely. It's very good, but I think part of me is like it just didn't quite resonate with me like it has a lot of other people. But it's a beautiful movie. I mean, I would recommend it, but I don't know.
Especially just for that speech alone by his dad.
Yes.
That you get. That is recommended just for that. I mean, it
totally
makes the whole rest of the movie worth it.
Totally agree. I think my only problem is that I was kind of basically waiting for it because I had heard other reviews. And I couldn't remember what character was going to give this monologue, but I had heard that, there's a monologue toward the end of the film. There's a monologue toward the end of the film that's just great. And it kind of upsets me that I was basically like, okay, when's it coming? When's this monologue coming? And don't get me wrong, it didn't disappoint, but still, because I was expecting it, I don't think it still had quite the impact it could have had. But Call Me by Your Name was quite good. I didn't get a chance to see Phantom Thread. I didn't see I, Tonya. I haven't seen Darkest Hour. So those are some major, movies that are being thrown around as awards contenders that I have not seen before we put these lists together. So that should be noted. And I guess that's my honorable mentions. Bobby, what about you?
Far as movies I haven't seen that might get award attention, I would guess it's probably just Phantom Thread, but I haven't seen it available anywhere, so that's pretty much the only reason why I haven't been able to see it. But other than that, I've seen everything else. So I'll just roll into my list of honorable mentions, and I'll just read them off. I will say my number 11 probably would have been Logan, just for a lot of the reasons that you guys all mentioned. But beyond that, I'll just read off the rest of the list. So I got Split, Wonder Woman, The Big Sick, War for the Planet of the Apes, Mother, The Florida Project, Darkest Hour, All the Money in the World, The Disaster Artist, I, Tonya, The Post, Lady Bird, and Power Rangers. Bam, there it is.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of you right now.
I love the exclamation point, Bobby. I love it.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
Mother!
And I did see Mother this week, but we'll talk about that another time.
Right.
Michelle.
Yeah, for me, honorable mentions. Split. I'm not gonna lie, that was like number 11 for me. Was Split.
That was really good. I forgot about that one.
I mean, honestly, like the redemption value of him, of the director that I'm now losing my mind on, was spectacular. M. Night. Thank you, Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan. It was a solid film. Then it was quickly after that Spider-Man Homecoming, The Florida Project, The Big Sick. I actually really enjoyed It Comes at Night, Justice League, Paris Can Wait. Those are kind of my like like, yeah, those were really good, really good. And with David, Call Me by Your Name, I think I'm kind of actually in the same boat. That movie is beautiful, and there's such a unique story that gets told in a very unique time frame. I still haven't quite captured all my thoughts on it.
Right.
And I agree that monologue by the father is it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm watching that monologue, and the whole time I was just thinking, all I could see was like, if the only thing that monologue could have been heightened to is if it was delivered by Robin Williams. There was just something about it. There was a feeling about it, and I was like, oh my God, if Robin Williams had played the father through this film, I think I would have lost my mind. I would have just been in tears. And I was close. But yeah, that film, I recommend anybody to see it. But yeah, I don't know. It's in there somewhere in the mixture, and I still haven't sorted my feelings out for that one yet. But yeah. Things I wish I could have seen was Coco. I really wanted to see Wind River. And yeah, Phantom Thread and a bunch of other things I'm sure are getting nominated. Darkest Hour and other stuff for the Academy Awards. I'm sure it'll be in there. But I pretty much saw everything I wanted to see this year. I will say that.
Right.
So I think I did really well this year in seeing what I wanted to see. So I don't really regret not seeing certain things.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
And then last but not least, or I guess actually least, our most disappointing film of the year. I'd be curious to hear what everyone thinks. Maybe one or a couple films that were
a hard category,
really
actually,
disappointed you
sometimes.
this year. Yasha, if you want to start us off.
I just have a few things that I'd like to mention that I had high hopes for, I guess. It's kind of like a little category that I had high hopes for that just didn't really deliver. Logan Lucky, I really had high hopes for that, and it just didn't really do it for me. It was somewhat entertaining, but it wasn't nearly as good as I was hoping it would be. The Hitman's Bodyguard is definitely up there when I thought that it was going to be just a spectacular film or just riddled with comedy everywhere, and it was not.
I actually meant to put that in my honorable mentions, truth be told. I thought it was hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I was hoping for it to be funnier. I wasn't like, it wasn't like downtrodden about it or anything to that nature, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I have like my little what the fuck section is Underworld Blood Wars. How the hell does this still keep getting made? X again, the return of Xander Cage. Enough with Transformers. It's an abortion on screen. It's fucking terrible. I can't stand it.
God, wow.
Wow.
Thoroughly. I'm almost to the level where Bobby's at, where it's just like, I just fucking can't do it anymore. I'm trying. And after watching the last Transformers the last night, Bobby was right to miss that movie because that's time of my life that I will never, ever, ever, ever see again. I was thoroughly disappointed in how what The Mummy was. I was hoping for a better film, and being somebody that is audibly a Tom Cruise fan, and I will tell people that, I was disappointed in the outcome of that film. I was definitely disappointed in Baywatch. I thought that was going to be much funnier than it really was, and it was very disappointing. And last but not least, my final what the fuck moment for this year was The Dark Tower. I don't know how they ruined a film franchise possibility in the matter of 90 minutes, but they happened to do it with two fantastic actors, and that is something that I will never, ever get back again.
All right. Okay, for me, disappointment. Let me say, I will say this. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
What?
Go ahead. No, it's the fact that you sound like you're about to preface something.
I am.
And I feel like I know what you have to say, but go ahead.
I'm going to say this at the same time acknowledging that Spider-Man Homecoming is an MCU movie now, even though it's like, the half and half Sony Marvel thing. But overall, I will say my biggest disappointment this year is the MCU. Because I had insanely high expectations for both Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Thor Ragnarok. And both of them, especially Thor Ragnarok for me, I gotta say, was a huge disappointment. Thor Ragnarok did not work for me. I thought that was just going to be a home run easily. I mean, saw the footage at Comic-Con in San Diego, was like, man, this is going to be great. Like, yeah, it's going to be, they're changing things up from the other Thor movies, but I'm fine with it because it's going to be awesome. And no, I'm sorry, it did not do it for me. I thought it was just trying way too hard to be just full-on comedy, and I was just so bummed. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is not... That's a movie that I wouldn't say is bad. I mean, I think it's fine. But, yeah, again, I mean, I know it's an expectations issue, and that's why I'm calling it a disappointment. But it was nowhere near as good as the first film for me. And that one's tough because I feel like I'm so... Well, I guess both of them. I feel like I'm so in the minority. Everyone seems to love both of those movies. And I still feel like I'm scratching my head going, I guess I'm crazy. I don't know. But sorry. They just didn't do it for me. Another one, though, I have to mention, too, Alien Covenant. Man, I really wanted that to be good.
Yeah, me too. I thought about putting that up there, too, because that movie was just not great.
No,
like, it was
just full of people making just terrible decisions, and just took a movie, Prometheus, that Prometheus has got problems.
People don't like it that much,
but there was promise there. The promise of Prometheus was that there was going to be a movie after it that was going to help Prometheus, and instead of making that, we were like, oh well, you guys want this? Okay, we'll do this, and just fuck that Prometheus movie. And oh god, it's terrible.
I think they should have just let either who was that was going to do the movie that directed, like Neil Blomkamp. That's what I was trying to
that's
think
right.
Of. Sorry.
Yeah.
They should have either just let him do that movie, or after having seen maybe a preliminary cut of Blade Runner 2049, they should have just gave it to Denis Villeneuve to do the
oh my god, if Denis had done that, oh god. Oh, my insides are tingling. I'm sorry. That would have been so magical.
All right, Bobby.
Yeah. So I guess with my list of disappointment, I will echo your thoughts in Alien Covenant. As you said, I thought that would have been a good follow-up to Prometheus had they just continued telling that story. But they did not, so that was absolutely disappointing. And my other two... actually ended up on Yasha's top 10, which is Thor Ragnarok and the Kingsman Golden Circle. I just really was hoping for more of what we got in that first one from the Kingsman, and it felt like it sort of toppled over that edge and that line of being really kind of cool and quirky to a little bit over the top and just kind of all over the place for me. And with Thor, it's just the humor was just a little too much. And I still really want to watch that movie a second time just to see if my opinion has changed, or
I agree
maybe
with
if
that.
I fall into it. But yeah, for now, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Michelle?
I mean, I hate to be copycat, but I'm right with you guys. Like, yeah. I was really excited for Thor Ragnarok. Like, I cannot explain to you. Like, I really like the Thor films. I really like that character. And what I was seeing, I was like, oh my God, this could be so good. And it just, the humor was just a huge miss with me. I just feel like it was two films like, shoved into one. It just missed the mark in so many ways for me. I just was so disappointed with that one. I mean, like, heartbreakingly disappointed. Like, I literally was just like, oh wow, that just happened. Alien Covenant, I agree. I definitely was hopeful for that one. I was really curious to see what they're going to pick up from Prometheus, and I feel like, they just, I don't know, they just looked at it and they went, yeah, fuck that. We're doing this. And it was just horrible. God, yeah, you should listen to the review that we all did on that one. I don't think any of it was just, wow, we tore that one to shit. That was an entertaining one to really just tear the hell out of.
Right.
And yeah, I'm with Bobby on Golden Circle. I enjoy the Kingsman world, and I feel like they just jumped the shark 3 or 4 times too many in that film for me, and I was really let down by it. It was just really like, oh man. I mean, it's a fun film. They do silly things. I'm not saying they don't. I just feel like they just overdid the silliness to an extreme level, and I was like, oh, that's a damn shame, because it was a fun thing, and it just wasn't fun for me watching it. The second sequel. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. And this is so weird. And you guys are going to be like, I don't understand what you're going to say, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. While it is actually on my honorable mentions list, at the same time, it's actually kind of on disappointment list. And I say that because I really tried to go with no expectations, because I thought this film was going to be such a total fucking bomb. And that's Justice League. And there's a part of me that's like, I feel like they did okay. But I'm wondering if I feel like they did okay because I was thinking it was going to be such total utter shit. And I went into it with low expectations, and I don't know, I guess I'm somewhere in the middle of this film, I guess is what it really says. Is I don't think it was great, and I don't think it was horrific. I guess is where it kind of, I'm somewhere in the middle, and that's why I guess I could put it on both sides, honestly. As weird as that sounds.
No, I get what you're saying.
It's hard to explain.
No,
but
yeah, I mean, and yeah, the funny thing is, I was going to finish up by noting that, yeah, Yasha and Bobby, you both had Justice League on your top 10, and now you've mentioned it kind of as an honorable mention / disappointment, Michelle, and I'm the only one who hasn't said anything about it on this show. So, yeah, I didn't put it as an honorable mention because I have a lot of problems like the first half of that movie. But I mean, it's a weird one because it's like overall, I walked out very happy when I watched that movie. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed them when they were as a group as Justice League, and you know, like you said, Bobby, the way that Superman was portrayed in that movie, it was just great, and the ending and the mid and after credit scenes, it was just it was a joy, like and it bums me out that I'm like, oh man, like, are we going to get another Justice League movie? Because like there's so much promise here. I mean, there's kind of problems with this movie, but god damn it, like, you guys are on the way. This is where you need to go with this. Like, and now it might be too little, too late.
Yeah.
So.
It's like this weird mixture of, if they could do that, throw in a little bit of Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman, I feel like they could be on the way to something really great. But I just don't think that's going to happen. And it just bums me out because I'm like, it could be. It could be so many things. And I don't know.
But overall, I feel like DC just needs to focus on the individual films. I'm really hoping that Aquaman's going to be as good as I'm expecting it to be. And, you know, we got Shazam has a release date now, and hopefully that's going to be good.
Flashpoint, I got my fingers crossed on that one.
If the Flash film actually happens, hopefully that's going to be good. And if another Batman movie gets made with Matt Reeves, like, I love Matt Reeves. I mean, whoever plays Batman in it, I mean, I'm excited to see it. And again, I've said it a million times, I really just want to see another Superman film. I want a Man of Steel 2. I love Henry Cavill as Superman, especially after seeing Justice League. I mean, I already liked him as Superman after Man of Steel, but after this, I was like, god damn it, like, I want another Superman movie. Can we make this happen? That'd be great.
Real quick, and I don't want to get into this because we've already all gotten into this for like ad nauseum, but it is interesting to me. Oh, you know exactly what I'm saying.
Thinking the same. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Go ahead, say it, Michelle.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Oh, did that happen this year?
No one said anything on anyone's list for anything.
It is such a unique film, and it falls into so many different little categories and camps, I think, with all four of us. And I think we all are still literally digesting this film. I think we're still so just gnawing on it that we literally can't even throw it into a list at this point. Am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were to put a gun to my head and go, David, put it on some list in this episode, I'd have to put it as a disappointment. I mean,
for you, I could see that totally,
I mean, even though I still agree it's very good.
Yeah.
You know, I was expecting amazing. So,
yeah, you were disappointed. I know.
I was disappointed in it. But you're right. I don't really I don't put it anywhere right now.
I think we're all still digesting it. As crazy as that sounds, a month after its release at this point,
yeah.
I think we all are literally all still kind of going, huh? And I feel like every day is a different day. Like one day I'll say one thing, and the next day I'll literally say the exact opposite. Like I feel different about that film every single day. So it's weird. I think I'm still working on it with myself.
For me, it's going to be the time of when we get episode 9, and then I see really kind of where it fits in all of it, and it gets multiple viewings, and then one day we'll see, what do I really think about Last Jedi? But for now, I'm kind of bummed. I'm bummed about a movie I really liked, if that makes any sense.
That's how I feel about Justice League. I'm bummed about Justice League, but I still enjoyed it. It makes no sense. I totally...
Yeah. Anyway. Well, unless anybody has anything else. And I mean, there's other stuff we could talk about this year, and maybe we'll do that on the next side effect episode or next regular episode. But
I just want to give a real quick shout out to The Chi on Showtime. Just started last week, and it's pretty good. If you were a fan of The Wire, it's kind of along the lines of that type of a show, and I'm really enjoying it. It's about Chicago and this incident that happens that ties all these different people together. It's pretty good.
Nice. Good to know. All right. So with that, we're going to get out of here. As always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening. Let us know what you think of our list. And if you have any questions or comments for us, just email us at feedback@flickereffect.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook at facebook.com/flickereffect, or on Instagram at flickereffect, or Twitter at flicker_effect. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening.